Hi, this is Regeline Sabat, also known as Gigi. You're listening to Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Stephen Lefkoff. Stephen Lefkoff is the founder of smallclaimsacademy.com and Lefkoff Law, LLC. Welcome to the show, Stephen.
Thanks, Gigi. I'm really excited to be here and join you. This is going to be fun.
Likewise, honored to have you here today. Now, why don't you start off by telling us about you and where you're from?
Sure. So I am from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a local attorney here in Atlanta that owns a boutique law firm, Lefkoff Law, where I provide general counsel to a lot of small businesses in Georgia. And when I was doing that, I started to notice in these small claims cases that I was doing for them, because they had me on retainer and would send me to a lot of their smaller cases. I was noticing people that came to small claims court without an attorney, but didn't know what they were doing. And I kind of thought about it, and it seemed not so uncommon to me. It happens all the time, right? Because it doesn't make sense to hire attorneys in a lot of these cases, at least economically. And I was watching folks do their own cases, and so many would lose cases that they should win, or would even win, but it would be a stretch, right? The judge would have to fill in a lot of blanks and kind of argue the case for them. And it made good sense why that was happening, because they didn't know the rules and the procedure. So I recently started a program called Gavel, which is under the Small Claims Academy umbrella. It's gavel.legal. And it's an online course with over 70 lessons to teach people and businesses the tips, tricks, procedures, rules, and how-tos of the small claims court.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Now, can you tell us more about your Small Claims Academy?
Yeah, sure. So Small Claims Academy is a business that I have founded to do exactly that, to give help to people who need help in small claims cases, right? Folks that have a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 case. Here in Georgia, it could be up to $15,000. So we're talking that could be a fairly decent chunk of money here at issue. But a lot of times either it's unaffordable, just financially unaffordable, or common sense tells you, hey, don't spend $3,000 on an attorney when your whole case is worth $3,000. So historically, that's been a huge, huge hole in the legal information market, because there aren't attorneys that do that work, right? There are very few attorneys that say, hey, yeah, I'll go to small claims court for you. You have a $2,500 case, pay me, and I'll win the case for you, right? Because financially it doesn't make sense. And so I kind of made it not only my mission, but sort of a pet peeve as I was watching these cases in court and watching people mess up. And I was saying, this is not right. We've got to have a solution here. I mean, lawyers, we're known as counselors, right? If you really think back to decades and decades and even centuries ago, we provide counsel to our clients. And that sometimes gets lost when you think about the fancy cars that lawyers drive, and the billboards and the offices and the houses and all this stuff. And really, when you boil it down, like, we're supposed to be helping people. And that's really what I'm trying to do with Small Claims Academy.
That is incredible. I love it. Individuals definitely need to check that out. And also tell us more about Lefkoff Law, LLC.
Sure. So that's the law firm, and it's a more traditional law firm experience, right? Through Lefkoff Law, I'm providing clients with legal advice. I'm drafting contracts. I'm going to court, full representation here in Georgia. I handle a whole lot of different types of cases here. One neat thing about being a small firm owner is that I can kind of pivot where needed. I don't fit into a box. I'm not I only do personal injury. I only do divorce. I only do criminal. Actually, those three I don't do at all. But pretty much everything else I can help with. And again, it's all about helping people. That's kind of my goal, both in the law firm and with Gavel and Small Claims Academy, is to just try and help people. That's something we all do, right, in business. You don't succeed in business if you're not helping people. It's just not something that you're going to be very successful with. You need customers, you need clients, you need partners, vendors, and all of those, if you're not giving and helping, then you're not going to get.
That's right. Now, what originally got you interested into the legal field?
So that's a funny question, because initially I had no interest in it. My father's an attorney here in Atlanta, and he's a bankruptcy attorney, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And for a long time thought that was what all attorneys did, was fill out forms and go to court and negotiate settlements. And I just didn't like it. And I was studying abroad, and I was actually fortunate enough to be in London, England. And at the time when I was there, the exchange rate, and I haven't kept up with it. I don't know what it is now, but at the time it was just awful. And so I exhausted my budget pretty quickly and was looking for free things to do when I was in London. And there aren't that many, but in the book I had, the travel book, back then we used books, not the internet, to figure things out. And so in my book, there was a little section on this place called Old Bailey, which was the courthouse there in London. And it said, you can go watch a trial for free. And I figured, well, I got nothing else to do. Of course, my classes had been done and I needed a free activity. So I went there and watched a trial at the Old Bailey courthouse, which is like a bajillion years old. And I kind of just felt the gravity of the history. And I'm not a history person. I'm like, it was my worst class in school, right? Like, I am not a history buff. It's not something that really, truly interests me. But I was in that building and just sort of felt it. And I was like, wow, this is cool. What these people are doing is really, really cool. And so then I came back and said, I want to do that. And that's where it started.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, tell us more about your Lawyers with Lives podcast.
Sure. So I'm kind of I try to keep a smile on my face, right? Which is hard to do when you're an attorney because you're kind of dealing with people's problems all the time and helping solve problems. And so you're hearing a lot of that. And dealing with other attorneys can be a problem because so many attorneys are, type A, ultra aggressive, win at all costs kind of people. And I am not, you could probably tell just by talking to me, I'm not that kind of person. And so I try real hard to keep a smile on my face. Remember, I have a family to go home to at night and that I want to do good, right? I want to do good things. And I thought, this is last year at some point, I said, you know what? There have got to be plenty of attorneys that don't just lawyer all day, right? That don't go to work, bill their however many billable hours their law firm requires, go home, go to sleep, and do it all over again. There's got to be people with hobbies and interests and side jobs and things that make them happy. And so I started interviewing people, only attorneys, about what those hobbies are. And we've had a number of very cool episodes like Lego building, scuba diving. I just did a gardening episode. And what's really neat is, like I said, about kind of type A personalities, lawyers don't, I've found this to be the case. They don't tend to just kind of dabble in things. Like the ones that I've interviewed are almost experts in these hobbies, right? Like when they get into something, they really, really, really get into something. So that's been pretty cool. I'm about 25 or 26 episodes deep. And it's been really fun to learn from experts about these things that I know. I mean, literally, one was about disc golf, and we did snowshoeing with an attorney. I mean, I'm in Atlanta. I barely know what snow is. I definitely don't know what snowshoeing is. And so he walked me through all of that. I mean, it was just cool. It's been very neat.
That is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to subscribe to Stephen's podcast, Lawyers with Lives podcast. Now, Stephen, what is the most difficult challenge you have faced in your life?
Holy moly. Man, that's a loaded question, Gigi. I've been fortunate, to be honest with you. I mean, part of that, I tend to think that's my own doing, right? I'm not win or lose, I blame myself. I am not a blamer of other people. And I try, like I said, to keep a smile on my face, no matter what I'm overcoming. Okay. And that can be, anything from family issues, business issues. I mean, nobody goes through life skating. I don't care what anybody says or who you are. And so, I've dealt with, look, I started a law firm right out of nowhere. I left where I was. I did not tell a single client that I was leaving and that I was coming and that I was starting a new law firm. I hung a shingle without knowing, hey, would a single client come with me? Where would my next dollar come from? And that's scary. And that's something that a lot of people starting new businesses deal with. I mean, I'm doing it with Gavel now, right? With the Small Claims Academy. I'm starting a new business. I have no idea where the next sale is going to come from. Who knows, right? But I have faith that it's going to work out and that even if the business doesn't work out, I'm going to be okay. Will it be harder to pay bills? Of course. Will there be issues? Of course there will be if the business fails. But I'm still going to wake up every morning. I'm going to put a smile on my face And I'm going to try and make my life, my family's life, and the world better. That's my goal.
That's right. Having faith truly matters. Thank you for sharing that. Now, was there a time in your journey when you experienced an aha moment, Stephen?
Yes, there was. So there's something really powerful, maybe is the right word, about when you gain the trust of other people. And I try to be real humble. I know that's hard to believe when I just talk for like 10 minutes about me and my law firm and my family, but I try to be a very humble person. And I didn't, the first time a client told me, do whatever you think is right, I trust you, was a moment where a switch flipped in my mind. And I said, wow, like that's amazing, right? That somebody put their faith and trust in me to make the right decision for them. And that's not something, I think I was like 26 years old, right? I always thought that was something you do when you're 60, that you've earned that trust and you know, through your life experiences and your career. And that's when people really say, look, whatever you say is the gospel, right? Because you're Bill Gates or you're whoever you are, and you've earned that. I was 26 years old, straight out of law school, and somebody said that to me, and I went, "Wow, like, yeah, okay, I can do that. You know, I can do what they're asking me to do," and it was a huge confidence booster, right? And that moment where my confidence went from, okay, I'm just an attorney, to, okay, I'm not just an attorney. I'm an attorney that people trust, rely on, and expect big things out of. And that's where that for sure was an aha moment for me.
That is definitely inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. Now, tell us more about what gives you happiness in your life, Stephen.
My kids, my wife, living, breathing. We have a funny thing at our house. It's I don't know if my parents did this or if I just, when I was growing up, or if I just did it once to my kids and thought this is brilliant. But, and maybe it's not. You may say, Stephen, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But I have this thing that when my kids wake up in the morning, so I make them breakfast. And while my wife's getting ready, she's a teacher. So she teaches at the school that the kids go to. So she takes the kids. So I wake up in the morning to get them all ready, and then she takes them. So one morning, this was a couple years ago, and my now 7-year-old was probably 5 or so, and he came down in one of those poor moods, right? He just wasn't right. And it happens to everybody, where you wake up and you're just like, you know, this day, so I didn't get enough sleep last night. There was some news story that I didn't like the night before, that my sports team lost. I don't know, whatever it is that causes you, I mean, God forbid, you know, there's a family tragedy, who knows, right? Something happens and you wake up in a bad mood. It happens to everybody. But anyway, he woke up in a bad mood, got dressed, came downstairs, shoes, socks, clothes, everything on. And he sat down. I said, Jonah, here's your breakfast. And he goes, I don't want it. Right? It did one of those like kind of things. And I said, okay, then turn around and go back upstairs, climb into your bed and start over. And I said, keep your shoes on. I don't care. It's the only time I will let you keep your shoes on in your bed. But go upstairs, get back in your bed, and start over with a smile on your face. And so he went upstairs. He got out of bed. He came back down again, upset. And I said, no, doesn't work. I said, you go upstairs. Now it's my turn. I'll tell you when you can come back downstairs. So I got him back in his bed, gave him, because at that point he like climbed in the bed, pulled the sheets over, got out, and not enough time to recalibrate yourself. And so then after I made him stay up there for like 4 minutes, I said, okay, Jonah, come on down, smile. And he came down and he smiled. And we now have this rule in our house that if you come down with a frown on your face, you're getting yourself back into bed and you're starting over, because nothing's happened yet to make you frown. All you did was wake up, right? That should be a great thing. You should be thrilled that you woke up, right? I mean, frown at noon when you've had half your day happen and some crisis or chaos is going on. Frown at 3 p.m., when there's something bad happens and you don't know how to deal with it and you're having a rough day. But don't frown at 6 a.m. when you've just woken up. That's ridiculous. So that's something that I really prioritize, is smiling and trying to at least begin your day happy, because you likely won't finish it happy if you don't begin it happy.
That is very powerful. Begin your day happy. I love it. Now, Stephen, what is your best advice for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
It's just that. I mean, it's just, man, I wish I knew these questions were coming. I feel like I just answered that one. No, it's true though. I mean, it's true. Look, here's the thing. Like my piece of advice to everybody and anybody is to think. And if you stop, we live in a society where we're driving out to here, we're driving out to there, we're going to run this errand, we're doing this, we got the Twitter on and the Facebook's on and all these things, and nobody stops to just like kind of take a step back. I'm not asking for a half-hour meditation, just like 5 seconds. Just think. Because if you stop and think, inevitably it will make you happy. I truly believe that. This is something that I live by. Like you ask about, what is happiness? What makes things happy? What makes you happy? To me, if you take a step back, close your eyes open, I don't care, whatever you do, breathe for 10 to 15 seconds and recalibrate yourself and start over. And do it when things are good, do it when things are bad. It doesn't matter. Just stop and think. And you'll be happy because you know why? You're breathing. That's why. This is an opinion. You're gonna have a million listeners go, God, he's an idiot. But this is my opinion, Gigi, is if you stop and you breathe and you recalibrate yourself and you realize, hey, I'm alive, man. Look, we're in the middle of the presidential crisis, right? Like, I'm not going to wax poetic on my political opinions or anything like that, but folks on both sides are going nuts. Can we get an answer? Who won? Stop counting votes. Keep counting votes. There's like all this banging on doors and windows and burning buildings down. And who knows, right, what's going on? Okay, it's chaos. It's chaos. But you know what? I don't care. Like, I'm breathing. I'm sitting in my office right now. I'm talking to you, Gigi, on a live, wherever we are broadcast. I'm smiling and I'm not thinking about that stuff because I stopped, thought for a minute about how I want my day to go, put a smile on my face and jumped on this thing with you. And this is fun. I mean, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
I love it. That's absolutely correct. We cannot let what's going on in society or in the media, the fake news, affect us as an individual and how we think and how we feel. We must continue to maintain a positive mindset, and we're in control of our mindset and our attitude. But once you have a negative mindset, then the results you'll get are negative results.
Isn't that true? I mean, think about it this way. Like, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine just last night about this, and we were saying, look, the decisions that are made by the politicians have potentially great impact on people. Okay, and I mean, like the farmers in Kansas and the business owners in New York alike. Like there are pros and cons to each politician that gets elected or each party for individual people, right? But it doesn't change the fact that you still have to wake up tomorrow morning and go to work, right? Or if you're retired and playing golf, you're still going to wake up tomorrow and go play some golf, right? Whatever it is, whoever's in charge has no effect on your ability to wake up with a smile, right? That's the choice you make. And so, like, I get it. There's a lot going on, and it's very easy to get wrapped up in it. Fake news, real news, no news, whatever it is. But it doesn't change the fact that you still got to wake up tomorrow and live your life. It's that's kind of that's what I live by. That's to me, like, and we're getting like so far away from my business and whatever else. But it's just a personal feeling that I got to wake up tomorrow. You got to do it.
That's absolutely correct. We cannot let those things interfere with our mindset and how we feel. And we cannot let our emotions run our lives. We need to be in control of our lives. So thank you for sharing that, Stephen. Very powerful.
I mean, then you end up angry and you end up frustrated because it doesn't matter which side you're on a lot of issues. If you let it run your life, you're going to be angry. You just are, so don't. Easy for me to say, but don't do it.
That's right. Now there's some individuals right now who are staying at home, especially with COVID and now the elections going on, and just really those who are really focused in on that, where your focus goes, energy flows, right? Tony Robbins. So essentially for those individuals who are focused on that and are maybe even depressed right now or even having anxiety or living in fear, what is your message to them?
Sure. And there's a lot of people like that. And I'm no therapist. I'm an attorney. right? We sometimes have to be therapists for our clients, but I am not a registered therapist. I have not gone to school for therapy. Like, I don't know that stuff. Okay. And I don't think I suffer from any of those things. So to say like, if I put myself in that person's shoes, I can't do that. Right. And I know that there are challenging things going on in the world. And I know that it's very easy to get wrapped up in them and to be stuck at home. I mean, I cannot imagine what folks are going through that are in, Gigi, like a studio apartment in New York, right? Or I just heard London is locking down again, or Melbourne, Australia, which was locked down for like 120 days, right? Could you, like, I have the benefit and the good fortune of having a wife and kids and a dog. And so like, even when we were locked down here in Georgia, the short amount of time that we were, I was able to entertain myself, right, with them, and we were able to play and have a good time. I don't know what it's like to not have that, but I do know that the choices we make are our choices. And I mean that in everything we do, everything, whether it's political, whether it's the TV shows you watch, whether it's the Facebook people you follow, whether you go to church or synagogue or your mosque or whatever, religious activity you choose to do or choose not to do. These are choices we all make, right? Fortunately, this country, to me, people could disagree, is the greatest country on planet Earth. And you have more choices in America than you have anywhere else. And so it doesn't really matter, excuse me, to me, right? Some of the ancillary stuff. I don't focus on that. And that's maybe a personality trait, but to me, I think it's a choice. I really do. And the shame is the real problem, Gigi, is what happens when you're so far down that negative spiral that you can't get out. Right. That to me that's a catastrophe. And that's really, really sad. And it happens to a lot of people. Right. But if you can take a minute, take 30 seconds, take a step back, and you're at a point in your life where that's effective for you, you can recalibrate yourself, even if it buys you 30 minutes of happiness or an hour of happiness. That's 30 minutes or an hour more than you probably would have had if you were watching CNN or Fox News or, whatever other MSNBC, or reading the fake news, the real news, the whatever news. And so I think, I don't even know if that really answers your question, because it's a challenge. And I think that sad people are sad people. And I understand that. And not everyone's happy, right? Like, who am I to say that, like, that's ridiculous? Not everybody's happy. But everybody has the choice.
That's right. We make our choices. Very powerful. Stephen, thank you so much for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast. I truly appreciate you. Yeah,
you bet, Gigi. This is fun. You got some great questions. You really triggered me. I hope I didn't talk too much. Probably bored your audience.
No, definitely not. You didn't bore them, and you definitely shared a lot of key points and very powerful messages. And you answered all of my questions, by the way, even the last one. Yes, yes, sir. Now, where can the audience find you, Stephen?
Sure. So you've got that link to smallclaimsacademy.com up on the page. There's also www.gavel.legal is the homepage for the Gavel program. And I'm available by email anytime, Stephen, Steven, @gavel.legal. I'm happy to continue this conversation with anybody.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Stephen at smallclaimsacademy.com and Lefkoff Law, LLC. And Stephen, again, thank you so much for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast.
Thanks, Gigi. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome. You too.